Hello, welcome to all to the course Frozen Foods and Cold Chain Management. So, in this course, we have completed different sections related to freezing and determination of freezing time. So, in the last section of the first module, we will discuss the innovations in food freezing. So, what are the latest innovations are taking place in food freezing? So myself, engineer Syed Abdul, working as assistant professor under NPIU at Harcourt Butler Technical University, Kanpur. Let's begin our lecture. So outline of the lecture is, first we will see what is the need for innovation in freezing of food materials, and then what are the various techniques available or innovative techniques available for freezing of food materials. So one of them is high pressure shift freezing, which we are going to cover in this lecture. So currently, if you look at the frozen food industry, currently they are using air blast freezers, plate freezers, immersion and cryogenic freezing equipment, so to freeze the food materials. However, as we know, food products are having low thermal conductivity of around 0.1 to 1.5 watt meter per Kelvin, which highly limits the achievable freezing rates. So the freezing rates are very low given that the low thermal conductivity of the food materials. Therefore, chemical and physical aids are researched and developed in order to accelerate the freezing process. So numerous innovations are taking place to improve the freezing process, out of which few are discussed in this course. One of them is your high pressure shift freezing, ultrasonic assisted freezing, and applications of antifreeze proteins and ice nucleation proteins. So through these innovations, significant improvements in product quality have been achieved by various researchers. So we will see high pressure shift thawing in this lecture, and we will discuss remaining innovative techniques in the upcoming lectures. To understand this high pressure shift freezing, you should understand the phase diagram of water, that is changes in phases of water with respect to pressure, right? So if you look at, this is the pressure, here is the temperature. You see here, when you increase the temperature at a particular increase the pressure at a particular temperature, say 0 degrees centigrade, the phase of water up to around say 600 remains in liquid state. After this it reaches a solid state, right? That means the ice formation is takes place. With respect to pressure also, there are different forms of ice are formed, around 8 types. Ice form 2 ice form 9 shapes are formed. We have shown very few ice structures here, that is ice 1, ice 2, ice 3, ice 5, ice 6. So with increasing in pressure, there are different kinds of ice are formed, and each type of ice is having its unique structural properties that are discussed in this upcoming lecture, right? So if you look at this, what is happening here, this A to B, B to C, C to D. So A to B, you are increasing the pressure, say around up more than 300 megapascal. After increasing the pressure, even though at temperature is near to zero, the water, the liquid in the food materials remains in the liquid state. After increasing the pressure, you are reducing the temperature to below freezing point. Say 0 is the freezing point of the water. When you increase the pressure up to 300 megapascal and reduce the temperature, say less than minus 10 degrees centigrade, but still the liquid remains in liquid state only, because of increase in pressure. That means even though you reduce the temperature to below freezing point, it remains in liquid state because of increase in pressure, and suddenly you release the pressure, so that the temperature so that the liquid is instantaneously converted into ice. So at point C, you suddenly release the pressure, and because the liquid is at around minus less than its freezing point, instantaneous nucleation takes place and uniform ice crystals are formed within when C to D. That means phase change takes place from C to D when you suddenly release the pressure. So this process is called high pressure shift freezing, where first you increase the pressure and then decrease the temperature to below freezing point of the food material. So the usual temperatures are decreased in high pressure shift freezing around minus 22 degrees centigrade up to minus 22 degrees centigrade. You can decrease the temperature and then you suddenly release the pressure so that there is instantaneous and uniform formation of ice crystals takes place. So at atmospheric pressure, water is frozen. We know when water is frozen, water is converted into ice and there is increase in volume about 9% on freezing at 0 degrees centigrade, and the volume increase is minus 22 degrees centigrade at 13%. So this increase in volume is the main reason for tissue damage during freezing. These we have discussed in the previous section. However, under high pressure, several types of ice 2 to 9 are formed with the different chemical structures and physical properties. The densities of high pressure ice are greater than that of water. So due to this high density values of this ice, during phase transition, high pressure ice do not expand in volume, which may reduce tissue damage. So the increase in density leads to decrease in volume. So the increase in volume of high pressure ice means the ice which is induced formed at high pressure does not have that much increase in volume compared to the volume at volume rise at atmospheric pressure, right? The frozen preservation of food can take advantage of the above phase change diagram of water to achieve the changing of the physical state of food using external manipulation of pressure, right? As shown in figure, there is exist a non-zero frozen region of water below 0 degrees centigrade under high pressure. The freezing point of water can be reduced to a minimum of minus 22 degrees centigrade at 207.5 megapascal. That means when you reduce the pressure to around 207.5 megapascal, at minus 22 degrees centigrade also the water remains in liquid state. So if you release the pressure, that time very high supercooling can be obtained. As a result, the ice nucleation rate is greatly increased. That means the formation of ice nucleus is very rapid. At very high pressure of 900 megapascal, ice 6, that is a form of ice having density of 1.31 into may be formed at room temperature, which means that foods can be frozen without any form of cooling under very high pressure of around 900 megapascal. With a good understanding of the phase change diagram of the water, high pressure can be used to greatly aid the freezing process and to improve the product quality. The process of reducing temperature well below 0 degrees centigrade under high pressure and then quickly releasing the pressure to initiate the rapid ice nucleation is called pressure shift freezing. So in pressure shift freezing, what we are doing, at a particular temperature we are increasing the pressure, then we are rapidly cooling the product to a temperature below its freezing point, say minus 22 degrees centigrade. At minus 22 degrees centigrade, the water is in liquid state. At that temperature, what we are doing, we are quickly releasing the pressure. So due to release in pressure, the phase change takes place and instantaneous and uniform ice crystals are formed. So this process is called pressure shift freezing, which is marked as A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E in the figure which we have discussed in the next figure, right? So here A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E is your pressure shift freezing. First what you are doing, you are increasing the pressure, then decreasing the temperature, then releasing the pressure so that rapid supercooling is taking place and instantaneous as well as uniform formation of ice crystals takes place due to phase change here from C to D, right? So the food products are initially kept in the liquid state at sub-zero temperatures with high pressure. So at initially liquid state, phase transition then occurs as a result of release of pressure. Here you are releasing the pressure that promotes high supercooling. Because of this large degree of supercooling, the initial formation of ice is instantaneous and homogeneous throughout the whole volume of the product and not only on the surface. So not only surface, throughout the volume of the product, the formation of ice is instantaneous and homogeneous because of the high degree of supercooling we are achieving in high pressure. Right? In practice, PF is carried out in high pressure vessel with its temperature being regulated at sub-zero temperatures. Right? So first food samples are cooled to minus 22 degrees centigrade at 200 megapascal. At the state, water remains in liquid state and then pressure is released, right? The pressure is then rapidly released to the atmosphere and the samples undergo sudden temperature rise up to the phase change temperature at the existing pressure. Partial freezing is initiated during this pressure release because of high supercooling of the samples, right? So in high pressure shift freezing, when you release the pressure, so there is no high pressure, there is only atmospheric pressure after release of pressure. So partial freezing is done at high pressure and the remaining freezing takes place at atmospheric pressure only. Only partial freezing can be obtained during PSF, as experiment shown that ice to water ratio can only reach 0.36 for a sample of pure water at the end of the pressure release step. As I said, only partial freezing up to 0.36%. Okay. So therefore PSF technology can be especially useful to freeze large items of foods in which a uniform ice crystal distribution is required. Nowadays it is gaining attraction, this pressure shift freezing. So most, if you look at the research studies, what they have done the PSF of large pork pieces and compared with the pork pieces frozen by air blast freezing and cryogenic freezing, that is liquid freezing, and they found that small size ice crystals both at surface and at the central zones are formed in pressure shift freezing, whereas air blast and cryogenic fluid freezing have thermal gradients showed non-uniform ice crystal distribution. So most of the LA studies show that the PSF treated foods have much preserved texture, and microscopic observations also indicate that the structure of foods can be preserved as long as no ice formed before depressurization. So texture also is very good in PSF. So drip loss reduction is variable from one product to another. Further studies on potential microbial destruction of microorganisms in PSF treated foods are needed. So there is a scope for study in PSF is that microbial destruction studies have not been done. So that can be done in future research. So these are the advantages as well as drawbacks of the pressure shift thawing. So we will meet in next video lecture. Thank you.